Hey guys, this is Justin from nextbigtrade.com. I want to make a quick video tonight and talk about what's going on currently with the stock market and some insight into what happened last fall with the stock market correction and how we were able to get an early read on how the market was weakening rapidly back then. So back in early October 2018, I wrote this article on my website where I talked about some warning signs that I was seeing in the market, which included, a lot of tech stocks were coming under selling pressure. A lot of new breakouts were failing. And one of the key things that happened was the XLF ETF, which is the financials ETF, tried to break above 28 and failed, and actually had a big bearish reversal candle the week after of the failed breakout, which really, to me, showed that the market was potentially headed for a big correction. Now, I was kind of surprised about how deep the correction went in December, but the warning signs were there. So if we go back to the chart of XLF, so what I was seeing back then was this attempt at a breakout after a really tight trading range for a couple months, and then tried to break out here, but then failed with the big bearish engulfing candle. And if you wanted to give the market the benefit of the doubt, it still kind of held the 30-week moving average for another week, but then it failed again on huge volume in early October. And really, this is what kicked off the multi-month correction into late December. Now, if you look at what happened with technology ETF, QQQ, initially the XLF ETF gave the warning sign, and then QQQ followed it right up with the same type of thing with a bearish engulfing candle, which led to the support breakdown and, the stage 4 downtrend. So what's interesting about what happened back then and what's going on now is we're kind of seeing the reverse, where I'm going to go back to XLF and show that back at the end of May, we tried to break support here, but we didn't, and we held the 30-week moving average. And then the week later, the first week of June, we got this big bullish engulfing candle back above the moving average. And now we're starting to actually see an increase in volume in XLF, and we're starting to try to outperform the S&P 500, which the XLF actually has been underperforming the S&P 500 since early 2018. So this is, in my opinion, a super critical development here, where if XLF starts to break out against the overall stock market, then there's pretty much no doubt in my mind that we'll be back in a stage 2 uptrend finally, and finally breaking out of this long-term trading range that we've been in for over a year now in the overall market. So this is something that I'm going to be watching very closely over the next couple of weeks to see if XLF does break out. We saw some pretty bullish action actually in JP Morgan and Bank of America last week. So I think chances are we are going to get a breakout here, and that's going to be a good sign for the market. And the same thing's kind of happening with technology, where we got that bullish engulfing candle, and we're now, trying to break it to new all-time highs in QQQ. And technology has been outperforming the S&P 500 for multiple months now. So, little degradation in June, but as long as we stay above this moving average, that means that we're outperforming the S&P 500. And that's usually what you see typically when the market's in a bullish uptrend. Technology tends to outperform. So, we're seeing signs that the market, I think, is firming up here and getting ready to break out. We're also seeing anecdotally, like, a lot of leading stocks. I talked about them in my last video, where we're seeing software stocks, gold mining's a leading sector now. Materials actually has been breaking out against the S&P 500. the solar stocks. Bitcoin's kind of a speculative sector, but it's, a lot of money's flowing that direction, even though it just kind of had a pullback the last couple of days. But there's a lot of, speculation and a lot of leading stocks are acting pretty well. So overall, I think we're basically like in a situation where we could break out to new all-time highs here, and the market is kind of showing somewhat of the opposite scenario of what happened last fall. So I'll be looking for, again, bullish continued activity in the financials this week, and I'm sure I'll be talking more about different sectors in the market on my website at nextbigtrade.com.